domains and stemming down the spread of the virus to minimal level. Tonight on Weekend File, we continue with the conversation on COVID-19 and the reopening of universities. We have situation reports from across the zones, and our guest is Professor Yakubu Ochefu, Secretary General, Committee of Vice Chancellors of Universities. I am Kenen Ima Abodike. Let's bring you the news now. We're starting with our security, where the Directorate of Defense Media Operations, DMO, says the Air Task Force of Operation Lafia Dole has destroyed a Boko Haram terrorist training camp along with a suspected ammunition depot and neutralized several terrorists at Nuwar in the Bama area of Borno State. DMO Coordinator Major General John Enenche says this was achieved through airstrikes executed on 14 January 2021, sequel to intelligence reports indicating that a cluster of huts and other structures in the settlement were being used to conduct combat training for the terrorists on a regular basis. Following a series of confirmatory aerial surveillance missions, Nigerian Air Force helicopter gunships in a night raid scored accurate hits on the target area, which led to the neutralization of several BHTS as well as the destruction of some of their structures, including their armory, where multiple mini explosions were observed amidst the raging fire. Several other terrorists were neutralized in follow-on attacks by the helicopter gunships. Now, Minister of Interior Rauf Areboshala has expressed satisfaction with the pace of work at the ongoing construction of Janguza ultra-modern custodial facility in Kano State. The minister, who was on an assessment visit, said federal government will continue to provide a conducive atmosphere for inmates across the country. Muhammad Rabiu Ali tells us more.
The ongoing construction of Kano Custodial Center is one among the 6 in the country with 3,000 capacity. While inspecting the project, Minister of Interior Rauf Areboshala said the Buhari-led administration is concerned with the condition of inmates, which brought about significant changes to do away with dehumanizing nature of prisons to serve as correctional centers.
I'm quite impressed with the pace of work, with the scope of work, and the quality of work, and equally the design and the provision.
The new dawn in administration of Correctional Center will no doubt launch the country in the League of Nations which observe human rights. The project is expected to be completed before the end of year 2021. Muhammad Rabiu Ali, NTA News.
A businesswoman whose leg was allegedly damaged by a police vehicle in 2006 has opened her case in a petition before the Lagos State Judicial Panel on restitution for victims of SARS-related abuses and other matters. Adeniyi Taiwo reports that a 14-year-old case was one of the 8 cases slated for mention before the panel this Saturday.
Ngozi Eze has borne the scar and pain of working with crutches for about 14 years. This was after an unfortunate encounter with a police officer at Trinity Police Station, Apapa, who allegedly ran over her leg with a police vehicle in the dead of night. Led in evidence by her counsel, John Nwoku, Ngozi informed the panel that her travail began on June 23, 2006, when she was arrested around Mile 2 while coming from a business trip to Kukumaiku. Rather than accept a plea, the police officer allegedly ran over her leg with a vehicle, leading to the damage of her ankle.
They said that they will correct the leg. Since then, I don't have money to go there to make an operation.
Although she is in need of another corrective surgery for her damaged ankle, Ngozi told the panel that she wanted justice done. Justice Doris Okuobi adjourned further hearing on the case till January 30, 2021 to enable the petitioner furnish the panel with relevant documents. 7 other cases slated for mention before the panel could not be heard, as most of the petitioners were either not around or came seeking adjournment. From the Lagos Court of Arbitration, Adini Taiwo, NTA News.
Former Governor of Gombe State, Ibrahim Dankwambo, has tasked chiefs and political leaders of Bolo to safeguard developmental projects in their community. The former governor spoke at the inauguration of Bolo internal roads in Ogu, Bolo local government area of Rivers State. Ogedi Nyekwere completes the report.
Bolo is one of the coastal communities that has suffered tidal erosion and perennial flooding because of east terrain. However, all that is a thing of the past now, with the construction of internal roads in the community by the Rivers State government. Governor Wike reiterated that every project started by the Rivers State government under his watch will be completed. He, however, stated that the state government will no longer take over the responsibility of local government authorities and enjoin the council chairmen to do their bit in their various council areas.
Anybody who wants to go back for chairmanship must show us what the person has done in that local government. I have told our leaders not to come and tell me this is their voice, because we must bring people who are willing, who are committed to work for the people.
I want to therefore urge the people of this community to use these facilities that have been provided to ensure that they grow the economy of this community, empower more youth, ensure that all the farmlands and the produce that are produced in this community are easily evacuated to the market.
The Bolo internal road is 7 kilometers long rigid pavement with 14 kilometers drainage and crisscrosses every part of the community. In Bolo, Ogbolo local government area of Rivers State. Ogedi Nyekwere, NTA News.
The federal government, through the National Directorate of Employment, has kicked off the extended public works program of 774,000 jobs for youths in Taraba State. Zana Joseph Gambo reports.
The extended special public works program of the federal government is designed to create 774,000 jobs across the country. The program is also aimed at creating transit jobs and provide sources of income to the poor and vulnerable members of the society to ameliorate the effect of COVID-19 pandemic. With the flag off of the program in Taraba State, 16,000 participants from the 16 local government areas are expected to be engaged in various community-specific public works activities.
Engaging the nation's youth in some important sectors of the economy. This strategy is intended to facilitate the creation of productive and inclusive societies in our nation.
It is important to stress the cordial relationship between the Taraba State government under the leadership of Architect Diary. I therefore crave for more cooperation towards the successful implementation of this program.
The sum of 460 million naira is to be committed to the success of the program in the state, in which each beneficiary will receive 20,000 naira monthly stipend for 3 months.
The impact of the monthly income of the participants on the economy of the state will be tremendous, thus reducing crimes and other vices.
Our communities will receive a payslip through the activities of the participants as they will engage in various community environment specific public works activities ranging from a drainage area and orchard maintenance among many others.
The beneficiaries are full of gratitude to the federal government for the gesture. Stakeholders pledged partnership for the success of the program in the state. In Jalingo, Joseph Zanagambo, NTA News.
Away from Nigeria, Uganda's Electoral Commission has declared President Yoweri Museveni as the winner of the presidential election conducted last Thursday. The electoral body says Mr. Museveni won about 59% of the total votes cast. Details with Musa Babaliu.
The 70-year-old President Yoweri Museveni has been in power since 1986.
Good, it was a big blessing.
And this is the 6th time he will be winning the presidential elections. Amid accusations of vote rigging, Election Commission Chairman Justice Simon Muganyi announced that Museveni won almost 59% of the votes, with Bobby Wine trailing with about 35%. He said turnout was 57% of the almost 18 million registered voters. The close rival to the president, Bobby Wine, rejected the election result and vowed to provide evidence of fraud once the internet was restored. Opposition politicians have also accused the government of harassment.
We didn't care about your religion, we didn't care about your tribe, we didn't care about whether you're a man or a woman. What we cared about were your qualities as a person.
Mr. Museveni, who came to power on the back of an armed uprising in 1986, stood as leader of the national resistance movement. He has long been depicted to Ugandans as a liberator and peace bridger. Reports say President Museveni has managed to maintain his grip on power through a mixture of encouraging a personality cult, employing patronage, compromising independent institutions, and sidelining opponents. Musa Baba Aliyu, NTA News.
Back home, President Muhammadu Buhari felicitates with the pioneer chairman of the governing All Progressives Congress APC, Chief Bisi Akonde, as he marks his 82nd birthday, describing him as one of the biggest and strongest pillars of democracy in the country. In a message of best wishes to the former governor of Osun State, the president appreciates Chief Akonde for his commitment to the service of the country and welfare of all citizens. He said the party Chief Akonde helped to form and lead as the pioneer chairman has benefited tremendously from his astute leadership, wisdom, and strong democratic convictions. President Buhari prays for Chief Akonde's good health and longer life so that the elder statesman will continue to be useful to the nation and humanity. In a related development, a former governor of Lagos State, Asiwaju Bola Tinubu, has congratulated the former interim chairman of the All Progressives Congress, Chief Bisi Akonde, describing him as a principled and perspective leader. He said he would not be where he is at present without the help and support Baba Akonde has given him. Tinubu commends the celebrant for his outstanding contributions to democratic governance and to the progressive cause in Nigeria. He prayed God Almighty to grant Akonde many more years and excellent health. You're watching Weekend File on the NTA Network Service. More reports after this timeout.
JJ has always been my father's hero. So this year, I wanted to do something really special. If I could just talk to JJ, I'm sure he would remember Dad. Mom says never give up. Hello JJ, it's me Victor. My dad's birthday is coming up soon and I want to surprise him. And she was right. I have been looking for you everywhere. Please help me.
Hi Samuel, happy birthday, it's JJ. Happy birthday to my man.
My dad is my hero, but now JJ is too.
The best data plans in town. Find your first. Dial *777#. Glow. This is the Wilson family last week. This is the Wilson family this week. What's changed? What? The Wilson family got maximum entertainment for less, and now they're closer than ever. Your family can be too.
How does this work?
With world-class international channels that put the quality back in your quality time.
That's what I'm talking about.
GoTV Max will bring you and your family closer in no time. So upgrade to GoTV Max for only 2,999 Naira today. Make una enjoy. GoTV. Love it. Although social media as a channel of communication is inherently harmless, it becomes harmful and damaging when used without discretion and thoughtfulness. Bad social media users spread rumors and fake news without verification. But good social media users stop, reflect, and verify information before sharing it. Be a good social media user. Stop the spread of fake news. Verify the authenticity of your source and use social media responsibly for a better Nigeria. This message is brought to you by the Nigerian Television Authority, NTA, in collaboration with the National Orientation Agency.
Do you know that 35% of every girl child and women are raped on a daily basis? Some are killed in the process, some take their lives in shame, others remain emotionally dead for life. It is sad. This culture is not ours, definitely not African. How did we allow bad culture to infiltrate and take over? Even if you lack fear for the law, what of fear of God? And you, why do you cover up rape acts when it happens? Remember, a problem shared is a problem half solved. Never cover any rape act because a rapist is a murderer. It could be you or your loved ones next. Women must be treated like the prize gem they are. Say no to rape.
Thank you for staying with us on Weekend File. As the second wave of coronavirus surges, Hadiza Godwin-Ebune has been visiting some of the schools in the FCT to monitor their preparations for school resumption, which has become as keenly anticipated, but is being meticulously planned to beat the challenges posed by COVID-19.
Though learning has taken some unusual tradition, soap, running water and other COVID-19 safety facilities have taken precedence over the usual school resumption, and here at FCT schools, the reality cannot be more stark. Authorities in the FCT administration are assuring all stakeholders that all necessary facilities will be in place both at the primary and secondary school to ensure that when the gates go open for resumption again, it is safe.
All that are needed for the smooth running of the educational system in FCT have been provided, ranging from expansion of the school structures, renovation of school structures, provision of hand sanitizers and all non-pharmaceutical materials. So it was a moment that we learned, and we learned very, very fast. So I think we are prepared to face perhaps any challenge that will come up arising from the second wave. But what we have done, we have devised a strategy where we have shift arrangement. In most of the populated schools, where you have morning shift and afternoon shift, that will give you, of course, more or less like an additional 50% space opportunity arising from the shift arrangement that we have currently now.
The premises of the University of Abuja is still a ghost town. No students in sight. When they do resume as scheduled, however, they will be greeted by this COVID-19 awareness signboard and a campus that gathered dust and leaves. At the Senate building, though, it is not yet business as usual, but there is enough activities to see the routine tasks through. No official agreed to speak with us, but these hand-washing points says it all. At the University Center for Distance Learning in Area 3, the atmosphere is not different, but all this could change in a matter of days when the federal government-sanctioned date for resumption kicks in. Hadiza Godwin-Ebune, NCA News.
Universities in Enugu State are working round the clock to ensure the safety of students and staff as they prepare for school's resumption amidst the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic. Comfort Ayim reports that schools are being disinfected, while advisory committees and COVID-19 monitoring teams have been constituted to enforce total compliance with COVID-19 safety protocols.
From March 23 to December 23, 2020 was ASU strike, and now COVID-19. For almost a year, the wide gate of the prestigious University of Nigeria Nsukka Enugu campus and the Enugu State University of Science welcomed no traffic as silence replaced noise in the campuses. The endless waiting game made some students to seek for education elsewhere, while some parents may not cope.
Starting from feeding, that is hardship from family. Come out. School feed is hard. Eating is difficult.
I'm transferring to the private school. I want to try and finish when I'm supposed to finish. Like if I'm offering 5-year course, it should be a 5-year course, not 6 years or 7 years. I just came here now to get my transcript. I'm tired of the whole ASU strike thing.
Let our students come back. I want to go back to class. Really, I want to go back to class.
As the scare of the second wave of COVID-19 spreads, universities are optimistic of early and safe reopening.
All offices in the university, all hostels, buildings were disinfected. On the 18th, when we proposed that the students will come in, we will still repeat what we did when they were here to write their first semester exams. At the gate, our staff will be there to ensure that nobody enters without observing those protocols.
If the assurance of the university authorities are reliable, then the students will be in for a rigorous academic year because a wide ground awaits them to cover. No thanks to ASU and COVID-19. In Enugu, Comfort Ayim, NT News.
And in view of the second wave of the coronavirus pandemic, amidst preparation for resumption of academic learning in Nigeria's tertiary institutions, what are some of the measures to control the spread of the disease? Chidiebere Onya visited some schools in Rivers State and now reports.
The spike in the number of coronavirus cases necessitated government's directive for schools, including universities, to remain closed until January 18, 2021. Ahead of the resumption date, University of Port Harcourt is leaving nothing to chance to ensure the safety of its students, teachers, and visitors alike. Chairman COVID-19 Steering Committee, Uniport, Professor Iyopu Similia-Layi, speaks more on the readiness of the school to commence academic activities.
We have decided that we will enforce mask wearing. The biggest challenge we have for safe resumption is social distancing. As you know, in the past 1 year, we have not built new facilities. So if you have a class of 300 people, how do you maintain social distancing within the classroom?
While schools in Rivers State resumed since the 4th of January 2021, the quest to reduce the impact of coronavirus on education prompted the enforcement of COVID-19 non-pharmaceutical protocols to prevent the spread of the virus in schools.
If you look behind me here, you'll see this equipment here. The university actually manufactured this. All you need to do is step on this, and then you get the sanitizer, you get soap, and you get water. Wash your hands and before you get into any building. All of this we're trying to do to make sure that our people are safe, both students and lecturers, and even those who come for the visitors.
To avert further disruption of academic learning occasioned by the coronavirus pandemic, stakeholders maintained that adhering to the safety protocols of COVID-19 is an effective way to flatten the curve of the pandemic. In Port Harcourt, Chidiebere Onya, NTA News.
Joining us now is Professor Yakubu Ochefu, Secretary General, Committee of Vice Chancellors of Universities. Professor Ochefu, you're welcome to Weekend File.
Thank you. Good evening.
Well, it is good news that life will return to the nation's tertiary institutions and indeed other lesser cadre of schooling, so to speak. But then we still have this fear about COVID-19, especially in the face of the second wave. How do you reconcile all of this?
Yeah, I think the fear is genuine. The issue is, how does the world reconcile to the fact that we have a pandemic that we have to live with? Life has been going on, must go on. And so, if there are protocols that are in place that enables us as humans to manage the reality of the existence of this pandemic, then I think we need to go on. And that is the entire thing of getting our educational system back on track, using the protocols that have been put in place, that have been tried and tested. Some have worked, some have not worked, but we'll keep experimenting until we get a solution that will make our schools safe for staff and students.
Perhaps, Professor Ochefu, the fear emanates from the fact that majority of our citizens are known not to respect or observe these prescribed safety protocols, and now students are returning to schools. That is where the fear is coming from. It is like a norm, like a tradition. Most people don't even believe in the existence of the pandemic in the first place. So that is where the fear is coming from. How do you address that?
Yeah, it's in any situation that that you find humans. Definitely, there will be those who believe that it can happen to somebody else, it will never happen to us. And if you look at the history of pandemics the world over, that has been the case. Even in the more civilized countries, there are parts of the world where people still don't believe that this thing exists. So the key to it is enforcement and design of a protocol that is easily enforceable so that you can keep on doing what you need to do in the midst of this pandemic. And I think that is what most of the vice chancellors are trying to do, to say, how do we structure a resumption program that will enable us effectively manage the pandemic against the backdrop of the points that you have just made, that there are some people who are very lax as far as these protocols are concerned.
Let's go to the university environment proper right now. Let's take a look at the issues of classrooms, lecture halls, hostel accommodation. What a way that in most of the universities, particularly the government-owned or public-owned ones, we don't have most of these facilities in place.
Yes.
That's another worry.
Yes, that's a worry.
And you need to observe social distancing, regular hand washing, and the rest of them in the midst of what we just acknowledge to be true.
Yes.
So how does that work?
Yes. In October last year, the Minister of Education, Malam Adamu, called all the vice chancellors to a virtual meeting and says to them, I want to hear you out. Assuming we resume today, are you ready? What have you done? What have you put in place? This meeting came after a prayer meeting that was called by the National Universities Commission to also brainstorm on that against the backdrop of the challenges in terms of the facilities that were on ground. And most vice chancellors came up with novel scenarios. For example, if you have 300 students in a classroom and you have 200 students outside the classroom, there's a total of 500. There's no way you're going to be to manage protocols. So you break it down into lots. If the room by COVID-19 protocols should only hold 50, then in an alphabetical order, the first 50 will come to the room and take their lectures. It's going to cost the universities more in terms of manpower because you need more lecturers to deliver on those type of procedures. So some are saying 100 level students only will resume and take lectures for a week. Then the following week, the 200 level students will come. And things. So there are so many ways that vice chancellors have looked at the challenges that they are facing or that they will face when the resumption starts and trigger scenarios that will help them manage the resumption effectively when with the protocols that NCDC has said everybody must follow. So you saw University of Port Harcourt saying this is what they will do. University of Ilorin has said this is what they will do, and all the vice chancellors are looking at it and say, we know we cannot bring all the students on campus at the same time because we don't have the facilities, so they will have to come in phases. How they structure the phase will differ from university to university.
Professor Chief, will continue with this discussion shortly. We are discussing COVID-19 and reopening of universities in Nigeria. Let's go for another break. Do stay with us.
Nigerian youths are about the greatest assets the country has at the moment. It is therefore not surprising that the administration of President Muhammadu Buhari is strategically responding to the yearnings of the youth through multiple projects and programs. Youth entrepreneurship support years by Bank of Industry, the Youth Investment Fund by the CBN, and several other conditional cash transfer programs. Recruitment of 774,000 social workers, majority of whom are youths, and so many other projects that are beneficial to youths directly or indirectly. If the administration can do all this, definitely with a degree of patience and time, it can achieve more. Nigerian youths must come together to say no to terrorism, no to vandalism, and no to all disruptive tendencies. Hashtag Youth for Greater Nigeria. Pacifying the youths, unifying the nation. The Council of Our Fathers.
My advice to these young people is please do not take us back to those harrowing days. You probably do not know what it is.
Nigerian youths, let's build our nation together.
Welcome back. Contact tracing has commenced at the Lagos State University College of Medicine as 3 of 8 students tested positive for COVID-19, leading the authority to immediately close all hostel facilities. Annie Daniels reports that the situation, however, did not affect activities at the Lagos State University Teaching Hospital.
The confusion that followed the announcement that 3 students of the Lagos State University College of Medicine have tested positive for COVID-19 could be imagined. But on a visit to the college after the development, the environment was calm as the hostels have been vacated as ordered by the management.
All the students have been asked to go home to isolate for 14 days so that if there's any one of them who is showing any symptoms of COVID-19, such persons can report to the university. A phone number has been made available to all the students to call.
The spokesperson said the college was temporarily shut down as students are expected back after observing the 2 weeks self-isolation.
The university is already sensitizing students and the university community and the general public that COVID-19 is not a death sentence.
Adekoya also debunks claims from various quarters that some of the college officials also tested positive for coronavirus, urging members of the public to please remain calm as the college is working assiduously to ensure the situation is brought under control. In Lagos, Annie Daniels, NTA News.
And the efforts have been intensified by universities in the Northwest to ensure safety and curtail the spread of coronavirus as staff and students prepare to resume academic activities. Dalhatu Abdullahi has the situation from the Sokoto zone.
A visit to Sokoto State University shows that the authorities have taken measures to check the spread of coronavirus as all safety protocols will be strictly observed and defaulters will be sanctioned. Though the environment is quiet and devoid of the usual hustle and bustle of students, preparations are in top gear to receive the students who are resuming amidst the second wave of COVID-19.
Without face mask, you should enter the class. Without washing your hand, we put one by the gate. The men should come for those that are trekking or coming down passing because they stay and wash their hands. Those that come through the buses, we have one at the bus stop.
At the Osman Danfodio University, the lecture halls were also shut, but the university authorities declined comment on their preparations as the Senate is yet to sit on the matter. At the Federal University Gusau, some pre-degree students have already resumed, while others are awaiting the full reopening of the institution.
We'll follow the protocol. We will use nose masks, we'll be with our sanitizer, and there will be social distance.
At the Federal University Birnin Kabi, arrangements have been concluded for the safe reopening of academic activities on the 18th of January.
Already during this lockdown, the university continued to make various adjustments and the preparations in the halls of residence and lecture halls preparatory to opening and observing the COVID-19 requirements.
The Vice-Chancellor urged both staff and students to adhere to the safety measures, stressing that the university will enforce a no mask, no entry policy when academic activities resume. In Sokoto, Dalatu Abdullahi, NTA News.
Professor Yakubu Ochefu, Secretary General, Committee of Vice Chancellors of Universities, is still around. Let's look at the issues of medical facilities and indeed health workers, because we're talking about the safety of both staff and students when academic activities are in the return in the nation's tertiary institutions. Has that area been properly looked at?
I must confess that there's still a lot of work that needs to be done in that area, because in most of the universities, the in-house medical facilities are grossly inadequate. The bigger universities that have teaching hospitals or colleges of medicine attached to the institutions may have some facilities, but I dare say that many of the public universities don't have enough bed space, not have in-house bed spaces to manage this. So most of what the vice chancellors have done is to identify hospitals near their campuses that will be able to house emergencies in case they arise. This is what they have been doing in the past. Where you have a major problem in the university, you have referral hospitals that you take your students to. But on campus, that is going to be a challenge, I must confess.
So how do we tackle it?
Yeah, they tackle it the way they have been doing it, that is depending on third-party hospitals that are within the vicinity of the campus to take care of their emergencies. That is what is going to, that is most probably will happen when students resume. Some vice chancellors have invested in providing emergency facilities, extra emergency facilities, over and above what they had before the pandemic took place. Quite a number of vice chancellors looked for source for funding to do that and to augment what they have on ground. But to say that all of them have made that type of arrangement will be cutting it short, as it were.
Before the break, you mentioned about the need for more manpower, meaning more lecturers, or I don't know, and then that would also involve more funding. Don't you see that as a problem at the moment?
Indeed, the bigger problem is the fact that even though ASWA has called off the strike and they have an agreement with federal government, there are conditions precedent that has not been met. So there's a palpable fear that even when students come back on campus, the lecturers may not be willing to teach, because part of the agreement is that they want to see the alerts in their bank accounts before they resume work. And if I am to teach a 100-level class, that had 100 students before COVID, and now because of COVID, that class has been broken into two. I now have to teach it twice. How will I get compensated? These issues are there. If you're asking me to also teach 50 students physically and 50 students join us online, that may be able to manage the system. But if you say I should do it physically twice, it's extra work. And if you give me extra work, you need to pay me extra. So that scenario is something that the universities, the vice chancellors are struggling with. The funding that has come has helped some of them. Not all the funding has come, but some of it has come that has helped to provide some of the basic facilities, the sanitizers, fumigation, water, and all those things, But in terms of dealing with the manpower requirements to teach in this type of environment is something that has not been addressed, and it will rear its head when resumption comes, I can assure you.
We can say that we don't think that the resumption of academic activities in universities will take off any time soon. If, going by what you said, pointing to the fact that some of the agreements between the government and ASU have not been met, so there is every likelihood, so to speak, that we're not yet there.
Yeah.
Now, in the face of the fear of COVID-19.
Yeah, you have to understand some basic fundamentals. By March, it will be a full calendar year that our universities have been shut down. Some universities have cancelled the last academic session and saying we have to continue from this. The price that the entire educational system is paying is a harrowing one. It's something that everybody in the system is not happy about. We must end this crazy situation. Between the pandemic and the strike, it's a situation that nobody is happy with. So we must end it at one point. And so the thinking is that if we resume, the pressure will now be brought on government to do the needful, as it were, and so that those alerts will start coming, and lecturers will now be happy to go and do the work and make the sacrifices that they are making to get the system back on track. But if it will be a disaster if universities resume in this type of circumstance, and another month goes by, and the agreement that has been made is not adhered to, and the strike resumes all over again, it will be a total disaster and failure in the system that nobody is looking forward to. So I think the ball is in the court of the federal government squarely in this regard. You said the monies will be credited by December. That did not happen. Another deadline was given. It still has not happened. As we speak, many of the lecturers have not received the alerts that federal government has promised.
But have some received?
Last time I checked, which was a few hours ago, I don't think anybody has received.
Okay.
Yes. And then, of course, there's the administrative, the non-teaching staff that also have their issues that have not even been addressed.
Okay.
Which is also very fundamental.
All right.
So the entire ecosystem is not really there yet. When you put all these things together, it's not
these
really
issues
there
together. All right. Finally, from us here, the university system, has it any sort of partnership with NCDC as we look forward to reopening of the universities in Nigeria now, considering the fact that they are at the helm of affairs as far as COVID-19 is concerned? So what is the partnership so far?
It's a very robust partnership. A lot of the members of the COVID-19 committees at the state levels and local government levels are university people, they are university staff. And NCDC on its own part has also been running a series of virtual webinars in terms of how to manage the protocols for some of these specific institutions. So there's a robust partnership between universities and NCDC, and I'm sure going forward as they resume, that partnership will increase. NCDC providing a lot of testing support to the universities, and then of course universities are also a number of universities. University of Jos, for example, has come out with its own COVID-19 syrup that manages the effects of the virus. And a lot of universities are doing very intensive research in that area. So in a way, it will provide a framework for us to aggressively see how we can deal with this COVID-19 challenge. But like I said, government on its own part also needs to do the needful and keep to its own agreement so that
everybody will be on the same page.
Yes, will be on the same page, yes.
All right, thank you, Professor Yakubu Ochefu, for sharing your thoughts with us on Weekend File.
Thank you very much. It's a pleasure.
We've been speaking with Professor Yakubu Ochefu, Secretary General, Committee of Vice Chancellors of Universities. We now go on our last break on the show. Stay with us.
Life can be very eventful. We curiously expect things to happen, even when we don't know what. Our human nature makes us like and repost lots of information. Some are unverified, inciting anger and hate. Sometimes innocently, other times the urge to break it first. This, in most cases, has caused destruction in many nations.
As we count down to the National Sport Festival holding in Edo State from the 14th of February, the upgraded facilities of the tennis court in Samuel Obomudia Stadium, Benin, venue of the tennis tournament, is wearing a new look, ready for all tennis players participating in the fiesta to showcase their talent. Peter Oibo takes us through the facilities.
Tennis is such a mental and intellectual game that projects a player's agility and finesse. Its uniqueness is that the players can override umpire's decision and concede a point, and also the winner and losers are entitled to trophies. That is why Edo State is no doubt a hub for hosting international tennis competition like the Ogbe Hard Court Championship in Benin City, which usually attract tennis stars around the world. This development over the years has produced former international players, including Veronica Oyibokai and John Atiomo in Nigeria. Veronica Oyibokai remains one of the greatest stars to emerge from Edo State and Nigeria. This edition of the National Sports Festival, holding in Edo State in less than a month, is expected that the team has put together players to represent the state for the single and double categories.
Here you see the tennis net you are seeing there is not localized. It's an international one bought all the way from the US. So we are preparing now, trying to make sure we get the good umpire chairs that any umpire can use while officiating a match.
Now that the court has been reconstructed by Governor Godwin Obaseki's administration to an international standard, it is believed that it can host any tennis tournament. The tennis court, which is measurable to a world standard with 78 feet, is 23.77 meters long, and its width is 27 feet, 8.23 meters for singles matches, and 36 feet, 10.97 meters for doubles. Also, the seating arrangement in the tennis court has VIP section, restroom, and special consideration for physically challenged persons.
You can see the structure here, which is very, very fantastic, and I really applaud the governor, definitely, because he did a fantastic job here.
The upgraded Ogbe tennis court no doubt will give tennis players across the country who will participate in the tournament a convivial atmosphere to showcase their talent.
In Benin, Peter Oibo, NTA News.
A sports update with Gift George is next.
Football followers have commended the Golden Eaglets of Nigeria for
for qualifying for the finals of the ongoing WAFU Under-17 tournament, where it will face the Under-17 side of Cote d'Ivoire on Monday. Some of the respondents say the Nigerian team needs to do better in the final to beat the Ivorian side it lost to in its first group game of the competition.
We hope that is going to be a good motivation for them going into the final against a team that they had earlier lost to.
I am much more excited by the fact that they have an opportunity to play in Morocco.
Going forward, Fatah Mawu should go back to a drawing board, select good guys.
The biggest women African football showpiece, the African Women Nations Cup, will be staged in Morocco in 2022. CAF confirmed Morocco as the host of the tournament. Congo had been earlier due to host the competition in 2020 until they pulled out in July 2019, leaving the event without a host before it was cancelled due to COVID-19. Nigerian Super Falcons are the defending champions. Meanwhile, 10 matches will be decided on Sunday in Week 5 of the Nigerian Professional Football League. In the English Premier League, in some of the matches played on Saturday, West Brom got a 3-2 away victory over Wolves. Brighton also beat Leeds 1-0 away, while West Ham defeated Burnley by 1-0. From Ibadan, Ajibola Ayomiku reports that Oyo State government says it will tackle the challenges of youth restiveness and unemployment through sporting activities. The governor stated this while receiving the World Boxing Federation super featherweight holder Riwan Oyekola, the Scorpion, at the Executive Council chamber of the governor's office.
Nigeria produced Anthony Joshua, in the heavyweight category. There's nothing that can stop us from repeating that. Essentially driven by the patriotic and magnanimity spirit of the Oyo State government.
Fight ended 92-98 in favor of Riwan.
Riwan Oyekola recently beat Lucas Matias Montancino from Argentina in Ibadan to win the belt. With Sports Update, Gift George, NTA News.
President Muhammadu Buhari has expressed his condolence over the death of Alhaji Abdulkadir Jali Abubakar, Deacon Sokoto, the Commissioner of Home Affairs in Sokoto State and younger brother of the Sultan of Sokoto, Alhaji Saad Abubakar III. In a condolence message to the Sultan on Friday, the President said he received with great shock and profound sadness the news of the death of Alhaji Jali Abubakar. He prayed Almighty Allah to forgive his shortcomings and reward his good deeds with Al-Jannah. President Buhari also condoled with the family of the deceased as well as the Governor of Sokoto State, Aminu Tambuwal, for losing someone dear to all of them. The death has been announced of Hajia Fatima Fanta Garba Mohammed, the immediate junior sister to late General Sani Abacha, died at the age of 75. President Muhammadu Buhari, in a condolence message, sympathized with the Abacha family, Senator Bashir Mohammed Ladur, and the people of Kano State over the passing of Hajia Fatima. The president noted that Hajia Fanta, who lived to the age of 75, devoted her time on earth to caring for the less privileged and godly upbringing of her children. Hajia Fatima Fanta is survived by 9 children and many grandchildren, including Senator Bashir Garba, the Federal Commissioner, National Commission for Refugees, Migrants and Internally Displaced Persons. Remains of late May Tangale, Dr. Abdul Buba Meisheru II, a first-class monarch in Gombe State, has been laid to rest at the Palace Cemetery in Biliri, Gombe State. Emmanuel Akila was there.
The Boys Brigade Nigeria, paying large respect to their national patron, the 15th Mai Tangale, Dr. Abdubu Meisharu II. His demise is a loss to the Tangale people, the state and the country. The church takes solace in the spiritual standing of the late monarch, whose lifestyle is an encouragement to the faith of many.
He was a God-fearing man, a very humble man. He was fair and just in the administration of his kingdom.
He's a man of peace, motivator by excellence. So we'll ever live to remember him.
Dr. Abdubu Meisharu II, the 15th Mai Tangale, was a first-class monarch and third in the hierarchy of traditional rulers in Gombe State. He led the Tangale people for 19 years, and until his death on January 11, 2021, was the chairman, Northern Christian Traditional Rulers Forum, and co-chairman, Nigeria Christian Traditional Rulers Forum. The Mai Tangale died at the age of 72. He is survived by his wife, First Abuba Meisharu, 5 children, and many grandchildren. In Gombe, Emmanuel Akila, NTA News.
We'd like to thank you for watching Weekend File tonight on the NTA. Let's see you again next Saturday. I am Kenan Ima Ambodike. Enjoy the rest of the weekend.
When you hear that sound, you know that Nigeria's most authentic newscast is about to begin. NTA Network News, a national communion.
These days, people get their news and information from more media sources than ever before. Some of the news and information given are fake, unverified, doctored, and manufactured to create confusion, stir disaffection, and cause disunity. Before you believe or share any news, ask yourself, is this real? Is it from a credible source? Is it verified or verifiable? Fake news is dangerous, whether you do it for fun or for political gains. Real people can get hurt. Fake news, don't create it, don't spread it.
This is a public service announcement from NTA.
Welcome to Abuja, the place that unites Nigeria.
From dusk to dawn, 24 hours a day, NTA International is with you in your living room, office, everywhere and anywhere. We provide the company you desire in terms of balanced and up-to-date news, programs, and the best of entertainment. Tune in to DSTV channel 251, GoTV channel 91, Freeview UK channel 264, or you can download www.visiontv.co.uk. App for iOS or Android. You can also see us on Facebook and YouTube for quality content on the go. NTA International, Africa's window to the world.